Hello there, and welcome back to another Starfield recap or weekly recap. So, what's happened in the world of Starfield? Not very much. So, it's been 9 days, or will be 10 days this video goes live, since we got our teaser trailer for the Terra Amanda, aka Terra Armada, which we're assuming that's what it is. Um, to be honest, the honeymoon period has moved away, and I think now we're all kind of looking on and we're like, okay, Bethesda, that was cool. What now? I think a lot of us, myself included, were expecting there to be because the teaser came out 10 days from now. That would have been bum. That would have been Friday. Would have been a Friday. Hold on now. Let me do my math real quick. So 10 days from now. Oh, 14 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oh, Saturday. I think it came out either Friday or Saturday, but either way. When it came out, we kind of like a lot of us expected that Tuesday would have been the kind of the reveal, or an extended kind of trailer sort of thing. That was not the case. What we were greeted by on Tuesday was a load of very questionable paid mods, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, so I don't know. We're back to kind of square one again. Like we know more than we did yesterday. Oh no, we know. Well, no, actually we don't. No, we don't. We know more than we did like 2 weeks ago. Prior to the little teaser, at least we know that they're working on stuff, and we know that they have a teaser. When and where it's coming out, we won't know. So I think this is where the speculation kind of kicks in. So currently there's I suppose it depends on what you're looking at. So the mention of the Starfield launching on PlayStation, we have gotten no real confirmation about that at all. So I do think it's still going to happen, because of various like rumors and stuff. When it's going to happen, not sure. The most recent rumors was that it's not going to happen until next year now because of it being postponed. Now, I'm going to be honest, I find that a little weird because I've said this a few times. When it comes to porting games, like from one console to another, generally speaking, companies like have to specialize in that, and Bethesda themselves don't have a department that focuses on porting games to other platforms. So for the most part, Bethesda isn't going to have much of a hand in porting the game, to my knowledge. Again, I'm just looking off of previous things, like for instance, if we look at like the previous games like Fallout and Skyrim, they had like different teams porting the games over, because it's a lot of effort. Now, maybe that might have changed, but I'm assuming the whole porting thing, yeah. Like if we look at Virtuos specifically, and the whole Oblivion thing kind of just highlights the fact that clearly Bethesda are going to outsource that to a company that's more able to do that. So I don't know why there would be like why there would like necessarily be a delay. Like if there was a delay and it's not coming out till next year, I don't think that would have anything to do with Bethesda, because again, Bethesda would have very little input. They'd probably just have like a couple of their staff overseeing everything, just making sure, dotting the I's and crossing your T's. But yeah, again, not sure why. But as for like the content, a lot of people are speculating that, oh, the content's going to launch alongside PlayStation launch. Whatever content we're getting, we're going to wait until the PlayStation launch to drop that. Now, I know I've said this a few times. I've mentioned the whole, like, it's like a kick in the chest, and a few people kind of didn't understand, like, like, oh, what's the big deal, Crimson? And I think the big deal, in my opinion, don't get me wrong, I have no issue with it going to PlayStation. I think it'd be awesome to go to PlayStation. More players means more funding, means more money into the game, which means more content, hopefully. My kind of issue has more so been with like how they treat the current fans, because all of us currently playing the game now, the Xbox fans, the PC fans, we've been playing the game from launch, And for the last year, we've essentially had no real content updates or anything like that. So we're just kind of sat there waiting, like, please, Bethesda, can I have some more? And Bethesda are like, nah, wait until, PlayStation. And we're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Because, like, I do realize that, like, when they go to drop it on PlayStation, realistically, to draw in some hype for people that like may say, like, people who may want to buy it on PlayStation, it would be beneficial to probably have something along with it. Like with Oblivion, they've done stuff in the past where, or sorry, with Skyrim, they did stuff in the past where they kind of like put all of their paid mods. Now I will say paid mods, they weren't technically paid mods, because like with Skyrim originally, a lot of the stuff that was added, like the various different kind of creation club content, it was made by modders, but like they were doing freelance work for Bethesda. So like I don't know if they do something similar with Starfield on PlayStation, because like it's like what are they gonna kind of throw in? I mean, they could throw in Watchtower, because like that's obviously, that's a pretty good one, but then saying that, like from a business point of view, if they're working on something similar to Watchtower, would it be advantageous for them to kind of, then it also kind of opens up this bag of worms of like, well, why is it like if we're like going to give away free content? I mean, they wouldn't have to free content necessarily. They could give away like credits, virtual credits, but that's, to be honest, that doesn't sell as well. It's like, oh, buy PlayStation, Starfield on PlayStation now and get a bonus like €20 worth of credits. That doesn't sound cool as, and get these really high rated paid mods. That sounds better, but then you're like, well, what mods, like, because each person is going to have a different opinion on kind of what they would prefer for paid mods. Like, there's a lot of awesome paid weapon mods out there. We don't really have any good kind of quest mods, because you would think too with like, it's like if you were gonna kind of maybe get a sample of like some of the cooler mods out there that kind of adhere to the lore. Well, there's not a whole lot. But yeah, so I don't think they're going to go that route. We'll talk a bit about Watchtower in a minute too. So more than likely, you're going to have some sort of content, like like an update or stuff. Which again, like a free update or like a free DLC, that's cool. Like it, maybe they, like an overhaul to the game that makes it different and stuff, and they kind of drop that alongside. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that, like, I feel like it would be good, like, because currently we're kind of sat here, like the current fans, the 11, 12 of us, 13 of us now, probably 14 of us. We're kind of sat here, we're playing the game, we're throwing money at paid mods in the hopes that Bethesda gets some of that money. We're hoping for new content, we're hoping for ship parts, and we would like something, like free expansion, even a paid expansion at this point. Like, we're just looking for anything really, any sort of content, because the content is not contenting, if you know what I'm saying. Do I know what I'm not? I don't know what I'm fucking saying. Man needs ship parts, we're going delirious here. But yeah, so regarding like that, yeah, we don't really know. Now, the other way to look at it is the shattered space. Let me bring up my personal device. Shattered Space launched on... Where the fuck did it launch? Patch was announced. Okay, let's not... Shattered Space was launched on the 30th of September. Okay? So... initially, the plans, everyone thought we were going to get something for Starfield's fucking 2-year anniversary. Yes, it's 2 years, Crimson, not 3 years. I know it's been a long time without chip parts. But we thought we were going to get something. What did we get? A teaser. Cool. I guess that's, calling it a teaser, yeah. So, like, it's possible we might get the content drop before the end of September, to kind of coincide with the Shattered Space launch last year. Now, realistically, how plausible is that? I don't really know. I will say that whatever Terran Armada is, I am under the impression that it's going to be a free. Either if it's going to come soon, it's going to be free. Now, The reason I think it's going to be free is because if it was paid content, they would have to give us a little bit more heads up beforehand. I mean, they could just, I suppose they could shadow drop it realistically. You know, they could, and they have in the past. But again, from a kind of from a business point of view, it helps to kind of give a little bit of a leeway. You know, like if it comes out on a fucking, on a Tuesday, and it's like fucking 40 quid, people mightn't have 40 quid on that day. They might have spent it last, their last week on paid mods. But yeah, so like giving a kind of, if it's going to be paid content, to give it like a little week or two heads up, just so people can be, okay, that's coming out, I'll put some money aside for it. I don't think that's the case. Again, for I think the other reason being that I think the Bethesda are probably they're probably going to do this as a sort of a like, oh yeah, here we go, here's some free new update. Now a lot of people were speculating with the Terran Armada. There's been some speculation, so I wanna kind of hit some nails on the head here. Some people speculate it's a paid mod, that it's going to be coming from Kingath. I have no inside information, but I do not believe that is the case. I feel like if Kingath were involved with that, or if it was going to be a paid mod, we would know ahead of time. Just because, like, Bethesda can and have, like, showcased paid mods. Like, they highlighted Shattered Space, or not Shattered Space, sorry. They highlighted Watchtower and kind of advertised it, but it was very clear that it wasn't made by Bethesda. I think people are kind of like, some people are in this kind of boat now where they're like, oh, like, clearly Bethesda can't even do content. So like, at least if Kingath could do, content, it'd be good. And that's a hot topic to say the least, because Watchtower was very, very good. I very thoroughly enjoyed it, but I'm still in this boat. It's like, Bethesda, I paid money for this game to get content primarily by you guys, like, I think, and we'll talk about mods in a bit. We always like to kind of leave the mod chat for the end. But yeah, so we're just gonna have to kind of ultimately wait and see. I kind of got off topic there. See, I don't think it's going to be a paid mod at all. I think it's going to be content. Now, what the content is. So initially there was speculation, Terran Armada. I said like, oh, it sounds like, potentially new enemies, coming into the game, new faction, maybe new, like the idea of like the idea of like a dormant colony that like went out before the advent of grav drive technology, and like maybe these people like found like some sort of artifact or device that wasn't Unity related, that essentially allowed them to progress their technology very quickly, and they basically decided to come back to Earth to see if they could do anything to fix it. And they're going to come back and realize that humanity is kind of squandering its newfound freedom and its new chance at life by ultimately doing fuck all and fighting amongst themselves. Now that's what I was speculating. There's a lot of ways you go about it, because it was a 12-second fucking trailer, but realistically, it could also very well just be a funny name for what is just a load of overhauls to the game. Like, we know that they're working on a system to overhaul the system, a system that overhauls the inter-system travel. So you think when you're going from Earth to Mars, or Gargarin to New Atlantis, Jemison rather, essentially they're going to add like some sort of a super cruise system that will be like similar to Elite Dangerous No Man's Sky, where instead of just having a loading screen going from point A to point B, you would actually have to fly there and stuff. Now I like the idea of that. But yeah, so it could also, we know that that's coming. Now, Terran Armada could be just adding that and a host of other new ship-based stuff, because it is called Terran Armada, ship-based, Maybe they're just trying to tie into the fact that, all of the ship manufacturers in the game are, we're from Earth, we're all from Terra, or Terran, ultimately. So it could just be like an overhaul to the ship store to stuff. I mean, I think that would be very cool. I would like some new like story related content. So I'm kind of hoping it is the latter, and that I'm hoping that it does include, this sort of stuff, like the ship based stuff, but I'm hoping it's more so tied to I'm hoping it's more so tied to, you know, like an actual story content or expansion. It would be really awesome if it was an expansion level like update that is essentially free. Again, I'd have no problem paying for it. I think most people wouldn't have any problem paying for it. I mean, we're already paying for fucking paid mods. Um but yeah, I think ultimately we're just gonna have to wait and see. If it doesn't come out by the end of September, the last real shot of it is there's apparent. See, it's weird. So I did some research. So people are saying like, oh, we might see the Starfield kind of thing at the PlayStation like event. I thought that was coming out this month. Apparently, it's not. I don't know when it is. It actually happened not too long ago. No Starfield there. People were joking that we might see Starfield at the Apple event, which in this day and age, it's fucking always possible. But yeah, so we don't know. Hopefully before the end of the year. I think realistically, from a business point of view, I like saying the term realistically. When what does realism have to do with Bethesda? Like they've been fucking radio silent the last year. We got a tweet, a teaser, and a fucking patch note with some little, you know. But yeah, because I feel like if it came out, like, you know, October, November, you know, kind of for the holiday season. The other thing too is like it's like, is it, if it is coming, is it either going to just drop straight away, or are we going to get another trailer, more substantial, maybe a 1 minute trailer again? We don't know. It's all up in the air at this point. You know, you just have to kind of go with it. That's pretty much it for like official news. Hopefully we hear something soon, TM, because I think like obviously we're all excited for new content, but like we're kind of sat there like, when, Bethesda, when's the content? But yeah, on to some mod related topics. I covered a few mods last week. One of the ones I covered was I kind of did two kind of mod. Did I do two mod rants last week? I did like one kind of video on a content or on a mod author, and then I did another one on just an individual mod. And I have to say, like, as a, I moved my mouse without accidentally moving my camera. As like a, you know, reviewing mods and stuff, that's kind of been my bread and butter. I've had a lot of people tell me that I've saved the money. Thank you, glad to save you money. I don't know why I said thank you very much. Thank you very much for helping you save you money. No, but I'm glad to obviously render assistance. But like, I feel like each week we're getting progressively worse and worse, you know? Like, there was a time when I was excited to see what's coming out of the paid mods, and I still am excited. We've got some cool stuff coming from really good, reputable mod authors. But then we've just got, like, absolute dog shit. Like, absolute dog shit. You know, like that Probe Tech mod. I'm sorry again. I'm not targeting Probe Tech as a person. They could be the nicest person ever, but as a mod author, somebody who is selling a paid mod, their practices are extremely scummy, extremely deceptive. In that, like, the whole thing is just, yeah, it's just a massive shit show. And to be honest, again, it always goes back to Bethesda and Bethesda allowing them to make this content. And I covered it in the video, but the fact that ProbeTech originally had this idea for the mod, or he like first brought it out in May, and like the fact that it like went through, like it clearly went back to the QA threw it back to them, which is like, holy shit. Like if QA are like catching shit, which is like, I to be honest, I think the QA probably are. I don't no speculation here. This is just that is speculation. I'm speculating here. I'm using the term allegedly, but I feel like with ProbeTech, because obviously ProbeTech, their before this mod, their last mod they did was the Aquila 20, what was it, fucking 40, the Aquila shop mod that basically sold every single unique item in the game, and like was really immersive breaking, and that had AI voice acting. And I'm guessing because it had AI voice acting, because it essentially like broke rules, that maybe he's flagged as a creator so that they look more closely at him. And clearly they did, because my god, I would love to have seen the version he initially pitched to Bethesda in May, because like usually it's a case of like I don't know a whole lot, right? I don't know a whole lot. I know that like sometimes there's like, I think there's like a period of like when you put something forward, I think you have to wait. If it has an issue, you have to like fix it, and I'm pretty sure like if it's a minor thing, they'll tell you to fix it, and it's but I think if it's like a major thing, like if it doesn't adhere to like Bethesda, and again, this is all just speculation off of what I've heard, I'm pretty sure they kind of hit you with like a kind of a, come back to us in 30 days, like come back to us in a month, right? And like realistically, right? So May, June, July, August, September, 5 months, which means realistically, even if like it takes a month and stuff, they've had to reach out, or he's had to go back to the drawing board like at least 3 times, which is kind of hilarious. Like, I feel like it's like if you're making paid content, right, and you make I think, what was the paid mod where what was the paid mod where the Terramorph spoke? Was that Probe Tech? I think it was Probe Tech. I think it was Probe Tech, but I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, like it's like if you're making a paid mod and like you've already broken like rule number 1 or one of the rules of don't use AI voice acting, why are they? I mean, I'm all for giving people second chances, but does he deserve a second chance? Like, look at the system he put in. It's extremely fucking broken in terms of it. Like, I didn't even fucking know how to start the system. There's no questing. Like, the guy doesn't know how to make quests, and that's very obvious because with the Probe Tech Doom ship, there wasn't like specific questing. More so it was like kind of like fetch quests or like a node quest. And for anyone familiar, like node quests are something that existed, I think, in like Fallout. It might have been Oblivion, but I remember watching node quests in like Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3. And essentially all it is a mod author doesn't know how to do like quest staging. So they'll just put notes, and the notes kind of allude to going to the next location and sort of, and yeah, like I think Probe Tech tried that with Doom Ship, but with this one, yeah, it's a shit show. Not to mention, you've got doors opening and closing, which is scripting, you want to be careful with scripting because that can cause issue with the game. But yeah, it's a shit show. It's a fucking shit show. And to be honest, when this video goes live, I will be doing a little bit of a deep dive into Skyrim. I know it's a risky one for me because like I feel like I've carved a little section of the Starfield community out that I think people who play Starfield, like, they know of me. Like, people who mess with mods, they know of me. That you love me or you hate me. I don't know, maybe love is a bit, but like I feel like when I make a video, kind of people kind of really like, okay, Crimson has some sort of like, he has some sort of like would you say like a kind of a horse in the game, a dog in the game, because like he's a fan of Starfield and stuff and he likes the game, blah blah. Skyrim's a different kettle of fish because Skyrim is a lot fucking larger than Starfield, and I feel like even if there could be like a Probe Tech level mod author out there in Starfield, and I go to fucking call them out for criticism or for, be critical, and I could get completely lambasted because like the Skyrim fanboys and fangirls might be like, no, that's my precious mod author, don't touch him, which I hope that's not the case. But to be honest with you, like I like my channel realistically these days is just me being like, yo, Bethesda, we're the content, and reviewing paid mods to the point of just kind of being very argumentative about paid mods, because I've said dozens of times, I think the idea of paid mods is very cool. I think there's definitely some, I think paid mods, the idea of doing paid mods is like, it's a cool idea. And like, to be honest, I think part of the reason why like I'm a fan of them is that like, I come from Halo, like in Halo, we've got forging in Halo, and like I recently played some Halo on my 10-hour live stream Saturday. I'd recommend watching it. It is a fun time, but Halo, like kind of the forge scene on Halo is absolutely mind blowing. Like the every time a Halo comes out, the forge that comes out with it is just so more advanced than the last. And the most recent Halo, like Halo 5 added scripting and Halo Infinite improved on the scripting. Like the scripting you can do is like fucking next level. Like we were playing a custom game or in multiplayer, right? And it was like an infection game mode where basically everyone was on mongoose little quads driving around this arena, and one person was driving the infected, the enemy was basically driving this like big biological Tron bike, and they were using like a kind of machine gun turret to point the direction. And like they were essentially like, it was like Tron, where as they would move, they would spawn like a tail behind them, like think Snake, or Tron. And the whole premise of it was basically you're trying to move in this arena and like cut off the survivors on the quads and kill them to try and win the game. So kind of, yeah, like imagine like Tron light cycles on Tron, except like one light cycle is basically producing the wall and like the other ones aren't, and you're trying to lock them in. Very, very cool, and honestly fucking mind-blowing. So like in Halo, the fact that mod authors or forgers, we call them in Halo, it's a more nicer title. Like they're able to make stuff like that, and it gets added to multiplayer. It's very cool, and to be honest, like I think that if they're able to make some money on the side, like I think that's a really good idea. So like the idea of like paid mods, I've always said I think it's a really really cool idea. Like I would rather, like, if we're being honest here, like, and if we look at any game like Halo, COD, Battlefield, I would rather, instead of kind of going the route of microtransactions and sort of stuff, being like skins and fucking stuff like that, I would probably rather like like the like independent modders make like content alongside obviously the base contents. Like if it was like Halo, for instance, we'd still get our all our new updates and stuff, but like the forgers would be able to kind of make really cool maps and stuff that they could make some money out of it. Yeah, and same with like obviously with Starfield. But yeah, like it's Bethesda are like they're clearly not paying enough attention to what's going on. I mean, they're not doing anything realistically, Like, I don't know of any creator that's been removed from the program again. It's all NDA sort of thing, so I'm just going off of kind of what's rumors. I know there's been a couple of instances of mods being pulled from the page, but that was more so mod authors themselves chose to pull their mods, which that in itself is a kind of a problem, the fact that there's no refund system. But yeah, so I guess regarding that, it's just it'll be interesting to see what mods come out this week. The other thing too is like, so I suppose without getting into too much, right? I tend to not cover all mods, because like some mods, like a lot of the time there's some mods where I've gotten burned by the author. Like an example is Gothos. I don't touch Gothos anymore because realistically it would be the same sort of video and I could definitely do it and it would probably get me views, but I wouldn't feel right doing it because it would just be me beating a dead horse, and ultimately I would just be getting extremely irate to the point of like it would probably like get very, it could get very treacherous in that like I don't want to ever insult the mod author directly. Like I don't want to insult them on a personal level. I always want to be just critical of their work and their work ethic, how they operate as a paid mod author, like essentially as a kind of a business, or as a product. So like doing like multiple videos of the same mod author, and with Probe Tech it's I suppose it's a different one, because like with Probe Tech it's just Probe Tech's a weird one. Like Gothos is in it for the money, very clearly, because like his price never fucking wavers. The dude he added Bedlam to Skyrim, which is hilarious. For anyone that's not familiar, Gothos is a mod author who made Bedlam, which was a very, very cool paid mod. Or sorry, very cool free mod, not paid mod. It was free, and essentially made it so that every time you enter a POI, there was a chance for reinforcements to spawn, a third faction could attack, and you could have a three-way conflict. And then the mod author decided he was going to make a new account for paid content and just produce paid mods that were very questionable, either taking inspiration from other free mods or other games. Like, let's try and implement something from Fallout into the game. Oh, that worked. So yeah, like, he's clearly in it for the money, and but Probe Tech is a different one, because like when I look at what Probe Tech's doing, I can see that like they're trying, but it's like, why are you enabling your paid mods to begin with? Like, just do free mods, make some stuff, learn how to play the fucking game. Like, I think it's honestly crazy that like I could probably watch a video or two and attempt to join the creation and make some fucking botch paid mods. I'd never do that because, one, I feel like if I joined the creation program, it would be very risky, because knowing me, I'd probably accidentally leak the NDA when going on a rant, which I don't want to do that. I wouldn't actually, but it's just, it would be kind of like, it'd be hard to, but it's just, it's like, Bethesda, what are you doing? Just like tighten it up, my guys, my gals, whatever. Whoever at Bethesda, just tighten that shit up, it's not a good look, and it honestly, like, it damages the reputation of legitimate mod authors and good paid mod authors, because when you think paid mods, you think, oh, paid mods? What, mod authors, like, what happened to it being a passion project? I see that a lot. And I think, to be honest, there's some truth behind it. Like, it's very clear when you look at some of the paid mods from reputable mod authors that it is still a passion project. They're still passionate about what they're doing, and they're trying to improve the game. Not all of them, obviously. Some of them are just like, oh, give me money. I want money. Also, you don't have to charge the max amount of fucking money. Like, if you make your paid mod 100 credits... I am more likely to probably avoid a lot of criticism, unless it is very, 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 very dog shit. Also, side tangent here, and Crimson needs to be careful. ESRB. Crimson needs to be very careful here, right? Because Starfield, right, needs to... Crimson doesn't want to excuse me. Crimson does not want to do anything that would like extremely negatively impact Starfield. I love Starfield, right? But like when I make the paid mod stuff, like sometimes I'm like, sometimes I'll say like to myself, oh, like I'd love for, like a paid mod author to like put in some sort of copyright IP, just because then that would make Bethesda wise up. But then there's a risk of that. Like, what happens if, I wouldn't want to see Bethesda get in a massive lawsuit with fucking Disney, although realistically, I don't think they would. But yeah, but the one thing I will say that's like quite interesting is Starfield ESPR rating, right? So Starfield has blood, strong language, suggestive themes, use of drugs, and violence, right? That's the ERSP rating. So now this is just me, right, speculating here, because I don't know the ins and outs of it. But going on to a different dev, Lysoft dev making a paid mod that adds gambling. Starfield's ESPR rating doesn't mention that gambling is allowed. Like, it doesn't say anything about gambling. Now, when it comes to paid mods, I know Bethesda have this whole thing of like, oh, like when you're using paid mods, you use them at your own risk and stuff. Well, that's the normal mods, but is that not illegal? Are you not supposed to, like, Starfield should, at the very least, Bethesda should update the rating, because paid mods are part and part owned by Bethesda. Yes, they're owned by the creator, but Bethesda kind of endorses them. So by adding in, like, a paid mod that adds gambling, is that allowed? because the ESRB, which for anyone wondering, that's like the rating. Starfield is a mature rating, which like it's a 70, which I think is hilarious because like Starfield is like compared to like Fallout, Starfield, like honestly, I feel like if you're a teen, like Starfield's probably a 12 plus game. Like I personally, and yeah, like if you watch my content and you're like okay with hearing me swear and you think I swear, Starfield is nothing like me. I don't know why I was saying that. I guess I was trying to say there, like if you watch my content and you would be fine with your 12-year-old or your teenagers watching my content, then Starfield would have no problem like to it because I don't even know the swearing in Starfield, to be honest with you. Like I'm pretty sure when I played The Escape, that was the first time I had made notice of swearing in Starfield. I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, so that's definitely like an interesting one. I wonder like any info on Bethesda. I'll probably have to title this and see we get some spec because it's an interesting one. And to be honest with you, again, I don't want to get Bethesda in trouble, but at the same time, if them reevaluating their kind of ESRB, like their age rating and what's in the game, would result in maybe certain mod authors getting the boot because they're producing slop content, then yeah, it'd definitely be interesting. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of stuff. Let me know what you think. One thing I will say, which this is just off topic. Occasionally I get comments of people that say they like my content, but they prefer if I didn't swear as much. I'm like, what gives you a right to tell me how to do my content? Like, if you like my content and you like me, but you don't like swearing, then clearly you don't like me. I realize it's not for everybody, but like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's like, you know, that whole, like, I feel like it's outdated. Like, because if you can't if you can't discern the difference between somebody using profanities to get a point across when they're frustrated versus, you know, directing profanities at a specific, you know, like I will swear out the wazoo, but I will very rarely, if ever, you know, refer to someone by using swear words, you know, like if I, you know, like I'm not. Yeah, I think I'll call people, I'll be like, y'all Flippy, you can't, but that's endearing, you know? Like, yeah, like, but I just find that funny. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. As always, let me know what you think. And yeah, I'd be interested if anybody here, like, from a business point of view or, like, do you think that, like, with the paid mod sort of thing, like, do you think we have like we have like a valid argument here and that like their ESRB doesn't mention you know, gambling, and then a paid mod adds gambling, you know? I mean, you could argue that all paid mods are fucking gambling because you're like, will you get good shit or will you get dog shit? Find out, you know? But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. As always, thanks for watching and peace in ship parts.